From inside the warehouse at Oriole Park at Camden Yards, it is the MASN All Access Podcast. Paul Mancano and Brendan Mortensen here with you on the very first day of the month of March, Brendan.
Just make all the months 30 days, Paul. Anyway, I don't know if that's what you were going to talk about.
Well, actually, there is we go by the Gregorian calendar, but if we went by a lunar... That's just the correct term for it. If we went by the lunar calendar, we could go with, I believe it's, 28 days for each month, 13 months, and we'd have like an even year and we wouldn't need the leap day.
Yeah.
Also, friend of the pod, Ryan Engelmeyer, was born on a leap day.
Yeah. So
His
he's
birthday,
like 5?
He didn't have a birthday this year. Poor guy.
That stinks.
So a birthday once every 4 years, and here's the thing, the leap year isn't exactly once every 4 years, too.
Right.
It's once every 4 years.
And like a quarter.
Except once every 100 years, except once every 400 years. So like 2000 was a leap year.
Why do we have to do this? Why can't the months just be 30 days?
Because it wouldn't add up to when the Earth goes around the sun. But imagine being 5 years old, and he was also a twin, so extra strange.
Yeah. But I mean, those birthday parties every 4 years have to be awesome.
Have to be lit, yeah. I mean, think about it. You get very few of them. You got to get 4 years worth of presents.
Right.
That's what I would demand.
I think that's the rule.
Yeah.
And then would you celebrate on the non-leap day years? Mm-hmm. Would you celebrate the day before or the day after?
We'll have to get him on the podcast to discuss.
We'll have to find out.
Because it doesn't exist. It's crazy.
Hate it.
All right. Well, on this podcast, we're going to be talking a lot about Jorge Mateo and what his long-term future in Baltimore could look like. But Brendan, first and foremost, new Orioles MLB Pipeline Top 30 prospect list was revealed. Couple changes. Some we saw coming. Heston Kjerstad, we knew he was going to jump into the top 10 because of where he was on MLB Pipeline's top 100 prospect list, but he jumps all the way up to number 6. Then we've got Ryan Watson, who makes his top 30 debut. He comes in at number 24, the Orioles minor league pitcher of the year last year. And how about recent international signee Luis Almeida jumping in at number 26?
Yeah, a few observations from me on the Orioles top 30. You've got Connor Norby at number 9, Kobe Mayo at number 10. I think both those guys could be top 100 prospects pretty soon once we see some more graduations. I think they are right on the verge of being in that top 100.
Shout out on the Verge podcast.
Shout out on the Verge. I thought it was interesting that we saw Cade Povich get some separation from some other pitchers that he has tended to be grouped with when we're talking about not the top 5 or so pitching prospects in this Orioles system, but Cade Povich jumps up to number 13, gets some separation from Seth Johnson, who comes in at number 16, and Chase McDermott at number 19. Drew Rom, of course, right there as well at number 20. And then you mentioned Ryan Watson. Should we be talking more about Ryan Watson? I mean, he comes in at number 24, which isn't huge on the Orioles top 30. But as you mentioned, he was the Orioles minor league pitcher of the year last year. He is getting closer to big league ready. He has the capability to both be a starter and come out of the bullpen. Not saying he has front end of the rotation potential, but I think Ryan Watson could be a potential big league piece down the line.
Yeah, big dude. He's like 6'3", 6'4", I'm pretty sure. He towered over us when we talked to him at Camden Yards last year when he came with Jordan Westberg, who was the Orioles minor league player of the year. Had a great season. I think that he's kind of in that grouping, though, with Drew Rom, of guys that could start games in the big leagues, but do they have the potential to unseat one of the guys that is ahead of them right now?
Yeah, I'd put him in a Drew Rom category.
Right.
Which
it's a good
we've just
place
been
to
talking
be
about Drew Rom more than Ryan Watson, and I think they're kind of in a similar spot.
Yeah.
Where maybe they could be spot starters here and there. Maybe they end up as a long reliever down the line, but they both have big league potential. That's exciting.
Again, we've been, and I think on a future podcast, we'll talk about some of the pitching prospects that we've spent a lot of time hyping up and discussing over the years that didn't turn out to be everyday big leaguers. I think of Mike Baumann. I think of Zach Lowther. I think of Alexander Wells as 3 guys that we thought had the potential to start big league games on a regular basis and didn't turn into much. So we speak with a lot of caution when we talk about pitching prospects in the 15 to 30 range.
Yeah, could throw Kevin Smith into that category as well.
Who is not in the Orioles' top 30, and he wasn't at the end of last year either.
No, but the Orioles acquired him in a trade. I believe it was the Miguel Castro to the Mets trade.
It was 1-for-1.
Kevin Smith, it was a 1-for-1 deal. Looked like an exciting pitching prospect. Never really panned out.
It's kind of sad because he came in, I believe, as the number 12 prospect in the Orioles system.
He was pretty highly ranked.
Yeah. So there are cautionary tales when it comes to all these guys. And the same goes for McDermott, for Povich, for Johnson. That's why the Orioles try to stockpile these guys in trades, because one out of every 3 or 4 turns into something.
And it's funny. I remember the conversation that we were having a few years ago where it was like, okay, even if one of Zach Lowther, Alexander Wells, Mike Baumann, Kevin Smith turns into a big league starter, you would take that as a success. None of them panned out. I mean, you still have Dean Kramer, who was kind of in that group, but a little bit above. He turned into a big league starter. Keegan Aiken was kind of in that group, probably a little bit above as well. He turns into a big league long reliever.
Yeah.
So those guys are at least success stories there. But among that group of 4, nobody has shown a lot at the big league level yet. I mean, Baumann at least has more of a chance. He flashed a little bit last year.
Yeah.
But not what we thought he could be.
But the Orioles have been buoyed by guys that had lower expectations, like Tyler Wells, who came in as a Rule 5 draft pick, like Austin Voth, who came in as a waiver claim. They've gotten contributions from those guys, so it mitigates the fact that they haven't gotten much from the higher-ranked pitching prospects. But, is it going to last forever? And that
Does
also...
anything last forever?
Nothing truly lasts forever. Jorge Mateo.
Smooth transition.
Thank you.
Yeah.
As smooth as his glove at shortstop.
Oh.
Well, we talk about things lasting forever, and we look at Jorge Mateo's great season in 2022. And we can talk about how much that is repeatable, because we're now talking about a 28-year-old who is holding down shortstop in an organization that is absolutely loaded with shortstop prospects.
Yeah.
And can he hold down that position long enough to keep some of these prospects at bay? We'll talk about him, how he fits into the Orioles' plans this year, how he fits into the Orioles' plans in 2024, 2025, and beyond, and whether it's best to rip off the Band-Aid and move on from Jorge Mateo now, or keep him entrenched at shortstop until somebody takes his seat.
Yeah, and I wanted to we mentioned last week that maybe we would just do a full podcast on Jorge Mateo, because it seems like anytime we talk about the left side of the infield and a lot of these prospects, we say, well, Jorge Mateo might not be around. Maybe they'll trade Jorge Mateo. Maybe Jorge Mateo continues to struggle offensively, gets benched, whatever it may be. There are just so many question marks surrounding Mateo because of what he has shown over the last season and a half in Baltimore, that it's hard to say whether he is going to stave off the Jordan Westbergs and Joey Ortizes of the world. Can't imagine that he would stave off Jackson Holliday for very long in 2 years or 3 years, however long Holliday takes to get to the big leagues. There are just so many questions surrounding Mateo, so many different paths that the Orioles could go here, because he gives you so many different things.
Yeah, and he, to me, kind of represents the fine line in Major League Baseball of an everyday player and a journeyman, a fringe role player.